Obviously, the big news of the day, the Trump trials, also the anti-Semitism that is sweeping the college campuses, anti-Jew, pro-Hamas protest, if you will, that are, some of those are astroturf. There's no doubt about it. But I want to speak to a video specifically that I saw last night, and I'll get to that in just a second, because I do want to remind you of what we're up against, and how some nation states aren't sleeping. Some nation states are looking at America implode, and they're looking to take advantage. China is that nation that wants to be a global hegemony. And it looks like, who knows? I mean, unless America wakes up, that just might happen. Hat tip to the Daily Wire. China begins rapidly expanding on small island near America's doorstep. So here's the summary. Communist China is beginning to rapidly increase its footprint in the Caribbean as it seeks to dethrone the United States as the world's leading superpower. You see, while we're so busy being divided against each other and fighting one another, so I don't know. It's so crazy the times that we're living in. There are other nations out there, China in particular, that want to take advantage. Iran that wants to take advantage, and they're getting to do so as a result of Joe Biden funding them. And by the way, let me make this emphatically clear. I just thought about this earlier today, and I do want to say this, and forgive me, because sometimes my mind just works like buckshot. But I want to make sure that I don't forget this. Everything that you're seeing occur in the United States right now, even with the anti-Jew protests that are happening on college campuses across the nation, or at least in blue states, if you will. This is the manifestation or the fruition of the Obama administration. This is Obama's foreign policy. This is what we're seeing. Even though Joe Biden wanted to be the next FDR, essentially he surrounded himself by all of Barack Obama's people. So Democrats, if you wanted to really understand what your policies look like, if they're played out to their ultimate end, you're starting to see that. You're starting to see that, at least the beginnings of that. I hope that we don't see them played out to their ultimate end, because essentially that would mean that the United States of America has fallen to communism. But the anti-Jew hatred that you see on college campuses, I think you can attribute that to America's first half-black president. I think that the foreign policy that we see that is being implemented by Joe Biden, who is absolutely clueless and doesn't know what's going on. I know there's times where he's lucid, but that too, that foreign policy is a byproduct of Barack Obama's vision of the world. Even though Joe Biden has always been a lefty, I don't think that he hated America. And he has been a lefty. He's never been Lunchbox Joe. People that have said that are just absolutely wrong. All you have to do is check out the guy's voting record. He was always a very liberal senator, and he has no moral compass whatsoever. But just so that you understand, I want to make sure that Barack Obama, the first half-black president, and yes, I'm saying that. I'm saying that on purpose. I'm saying that because this is a president that had an opportunity to bring America together like never before. But instead, the legacy that he left us with were a bunch of woke professors on college campuses and academia, a deep state within the bureaucracies that literally went after former President Donald Trump and continue to do so, in my opinion. And he's left us with a divided country. That should be the legacy of Barack Obama. There's no doubt that Joe Biden will be probably the worst president ever, or one of the worst presidents ever. But honestly, he wouldn't even have gotten the opportunity if it wasn't for Barack Obama that let him into the fold. So going back to China real quick, you can look at China. China is looking in from the outside, and they're just like, man, we cannot believe this. We cannot believe the luck that we're having with these idiots. I mean, I shared with you one time when I was on in for Officer Tatum how literally they're bolstering their manufacturing. I may do a solo podcast on this where by the way, check out my podcast, The Carl Jackson Show, wherever you go to get your podcast. Subscribe to The Carl Jackson Show podcast. Also, all things social media. The Carl Jackson Show, X, Instagram, Facebook, True Social, Getter, wherever I am on social media, the Carl Jackson Show. But so anyway, China is flooding our market with all of their cheap goods, and it's really hurting us. It's hurting us, making inflation even worse, if you will. So it's absolutely crazy, but they are on the march now. Getting back to this article, so Newsweek reported that just a couple hundred miles away from the U.S. Virgin Islands, China has started to take over the Paradise Island of Antigua. You see, we're not talking about the enemies that would, that'll kill us all. Well, Islam, they'll kill us all. All of you little punk behind, campus protesters. Some of you are paid. There's no doubt about it. Some of you probably, still go home during the summer and mommy and daddy wipe your butts, because you're nothing but a bunch of spoiled brats. But the very people that you claim to support would kill you quick, fast, and in a hurry. They simply don't like you, because they believe that you're a member of the great Satan. You're an American, so you are part of Israel's small Satan or little Satan. America is the great Satan. But and then again, you have China that's watching us and just like, oh, these idiots. We can't believe our luck. We can't believe that we've got probably the dumbest politician ever. And I don't think I'm exaggerating. Well, maybe I am. Kamala Harris may have them beat. But two of the dumbest politicians ever to be in the White House. One is president, obviously. The other is as vice president, to do our bidding for us, to literally choke off oil, to drain the strategic petroleum reserve, and put us on a footing where we can buy cheap oil from Russia. We can buy cheap oil from Iran. And then these people are just literally crippling themselves. We cannot believe our luck. Plus, we know that Joe Biden has dementia. So we're going to take advantage of that. I mean, it's just absolutely astounding. But while we're focusing on being divided and fighting each other, make no mistake about it. If you believe that, America is this great evil place, this systemic, this systemically racist place, and China doesn't care about all of that, and then they're going to rule over all of us. That's just simply the way that it works. So here's what China has done. They've started to take over the Paradise Island of Antigua. Thank you very much, Lou. So they've started to take over the island of Antigua. So while China is doing, while Democrats were waving the Ukrainian flag in Congress and all that kind of stuff the other day, China was on the march. You know what they're doing? They're literally constructing a Chinese-run special economic zone on the island that will have its own customs and immigration formalities, a shipping port, and a dedicated airline, and will be able to issue passports. It will also establish businesses offering everything from logistics to crypto, facial surgery to virology, all of this in Antigua. So we're fighting against each other, but I want you to understand, I hope that we can get our acts together, because I want you to understand that there's a nation state, a communist nation state, that is way more dangerous than Joe Biden and the Democrat Party. Although they are the Democrat Party, they are an existential threat to America. China's on the march. And we need to be looking out. I almost wonder if they want us to be distracted by everything that we see, Russia, Ukraine, so on. And I'm not saying these issues are unimportant. I'm just saying that China is looking at us and they're salivating at what they're watching. They cannot believe it. All right, so China's encroachment on what is known as, quote, America's third border, close quote, has U.S. officials alarmed because China uses these developments and upgrades to a country's infrastructure as a way to bring their own military into a new region. So again, while we sit here and we fight each other in the United States of America, and while you have a bunch of brainwashed morons in these Ivy League campuses that are training their sights on Jews, I want you to know that China is training their sights on all of us.